Look at that lighting. My husband would be so proud. Alright, I'm going to close the freezer. I'm going to do a few more things, and then I'm going to film this freezer inventory video because it's about to hit winter time and I need to go through this mess. Hello, hello, hello you guys, and welcome back. Well, it's that time of year. I have to do freezer inventory, and everybody else is doing freezer inventory because it's that time of year. And look at this mess. I've got all kinds of stuff coming up. I'm going to be going to some places where I can get some free produce, so I need to start making room. And we're going to go through all this mess and see what all I've got going on. So, let's start. I don't want to go through everything right away, talk to you about everything right away. I just want to point out a couple of things. And then I'll have Kevin speed up the emptying and add some pretty music so you don't have to sit here for 45 minutes and watch me empty my freezer and go through it. Alright guys, the one thing I wanted to point out is you've seen me collect my tomatoes. I don't have room for a basket, so I had moved it to one of those lunch sandwich things quite a while ago. This works just as fine as one of those little baskets. But there's so much in my freezer now that I needed to put it in something smaller. That's how I freeze them right off of the vine. And this is the other thing I wanted to point out. I grew all of these tomatoes myself this year out of my garden. It's a full bushel of tomatoes. Big ones. Sorry, big ones. Little ones. You'd be surprised how fast the little ones add up and weigh up. Ugh. And then, one more thing. This is cat food and dog food. I buy it in bulk. I bag it and put them in the freezer. You save money when you buy cat food and dog food in bulk. And to prevent it from going bad and leading to possibly throwing up and disagreeing with their tummies, you freeze it so it stays good. I mean, if you buy human food in bulk, you don't just let it sit there for months and be icky and then eat it, do you? Alright, I'm going to have Kevin speed all this up, and we'll be back in a little bit once this is all cleaned out and starting to be reorganized. Alright, guys. This is tea. This is not juice. My husband's tea for work. He takes it out the day before, puts it in the fridge, and it starts to defrost. And by work the next day, he's got a half defrosted tea that then defrosts by the end of the day, and he's got a nice cold drink all day long. Oh. That took less time than I thought. Now I'm going to start sorting all of this. And then I will bring you back as I have got everything sorted and I'm putting it back in the freezer. So we can talk about everything that it is and what my inventory is for just this freezer at the moment. Because I got 2 other freezers to go. Alright guys, we're going to do this one bag at a time. In the order of importance of use and in order of as I'm taking and writing my inventory down. The way I do inventory generally, or the way I label things, is not by the pound, or not by how many roasts I have, but as in how many family meals I can make out of it. I'm not going to say I have 4 roasts and 3 beef strips and 4 beef cubes for stew. No, that's not what my inventory is, but I don't write it down that way. I write it down as so many family meals. And then when I write up my menu, I look at what my freezer has, and then I look at, I do red meat so many times a week. Not very often at all. In fact, red meat's one of the things that goes on the bottom. But, alright, enough. We'll talk about all that, more of that later. So, first thing to go in is my big bag of frozen tomatoes. Way at the bottom. Shoved way over to the side to make room for it. Make room for other things coming in. Then right next to that right away is going to be the dog food and the cat food. Because I already have a bag out. See? I already have a big bag out. These are 3-pound bags. And my animals have self-feeders that take 3 pounds at a time. And their food lasts them 2-3 weeks at a time because I also supplement their food. So all of that will last me about 3 months. Alright, I think that's it for now. That's on my inventory. We'll be back. I'm going to take inventory of more things and then layer things in there. Next, I have red meats. Beef. I have beef roast, beef strips, beef steak, and beef stew meat. So I have 8 family meals of assorted beef in here, and I don't use beef like this very often, so it goes on the bottom of the freezer. So 8 family meals. Alright, we'll be back. Alright, next in here is 6 bags of its pumpkin puree, and it's Cinderella pumpkin. And there's 1 cup. There's 2 little bags of 1 cup each. It's pumpkin puree. This comes from a friend of mine. They grow Cinderella pumpkins, and they gave me a gift because they like it when I bake bread and call them up and say, I have a loaf of bread. So they always bring me pumpkin so that I'll call them when I make bread. And then I have gnocchis. I had gotten these on sale once. I paid $1 for these. And these are our favorite gnocchis. And I had bought like 15 of them. And I'm down to, well, 2 family meals at 2 bags per family meal. And then a lunch for the kids. So I have 5 bags left. And then I have bags of these are zucchini. No, these are cucumbers. Bags of cucumbers that I use when I make veggie stock. So, pumpkin puree, gnocchis, and veggie stock. So I have 2 family meals and a kid's lunch. And then 5 breads and 2 veggie stock. Is a bag of assorted goods. I have pepperoni in here. I had gotten a bunch of this on sale once, and I stocked up and froze it, and I've got approximately 4 projects left. Depending upon what I make, it could be 3 projects, could be only 2 projects, could be all 4 projects. Depends upon what I make out of them. So I wrote it down as 4 projects because it's approximate, and if I write it that way rather than family meals, I actually know exactly what ideas I can come to. Then I've got 2 bacon left. I had bought a bunch of these on sale once, and there's only 2 left. And one of those things makes us a family breakfast or family BLTs. Then I've got a whole bunch of random leftover hot dogs from summer grilling season. So I wrote down again an approximate and wrote down 6 meals. Instead of writing family meals, because that's not guaranteed to what I'm going to get, because it's winter and we're inside, I'm going to be making things differently out of the hot dogs than I do in the summer. And then I've got 2 big bags of these nuts and berries. I use these for baking breads. And then at the bottom of my freezer, I found a hole. The Zaycon, unfortunately, is out of business. Sad face. But I've got 1 Zaycon ham left. And I can either use that for 1 canning session and get about 6 or 7 jars of ham, or I can get 1 holiday meal out of it, and I think I'm going to save it and do a holiday meal. So all that in here, 2 nuts, which will make me about 1 bag makes me about 3 baking projects. So I've got about 6 baking projects, 1 holiday ham, 2 family bacon meals, approximately 4 pepperoni projects, and approximately 6 different meals out of the hot dogs. Let's put this over here on top of the tomatoes. I want it at the top because those are things I reach for on a very common basis. Alright, we'll be back with more. Alright guys, next. This is something that I use on a regular basis, like all the time. So it's going to be right on top. In here is chicken. Chicken breast, chicken thighs, chicken tenders. Chicken breast, chicken thighs, and chicken tenders. And I have 4 family meals worth of chicken. Then I have ground meat in here. I have ground hamburger, and then I have Zaycon ground pork. Now, Zaycon never made a ground pork. What I did was I took the pork tenderloins, spiced them myself, and made my own Italian sausage. So I have 4 Zaycon hamburgers left. Yay. And I have 1 pound of my ground Italian sausage, ground pork, that I made out of the Zaycon tenders. Put those right on top. Alright, last but not least, is the pork. Now, I use this the most often. In here, I have that big thing of pork that you saw me get in my one Costco haul. And then at the bottom of the freezer, along with the ham, I found 8 of these Zaycon pork tenderloins. So I'm going to take 4 of them, and in the next couple of weeks I'm going to be making more of my Italian ground pork. I do have a video on that. So there's 8 Zacon chicken pork loins. There's one full one of the Costco, and one of these gets me 3 family meals. And then here is one more family meal left from the second one, because you'd see me get 2 of them. So I have 4 of these Costco pork tenderloin meals and 8 of the Zacon ones. And what I do with the pork tenderloins is I either make oven roast stew or pulled pork. We make pulled pork on a regular basis because I do lots of things with the pulled pork, leftovers. Or I make oven roast stew, because if you have oven roast stew, the pork tastes just like the beef pretty much, because they all suck up, all the meats just suck up the flavor of the stew that you're cooking in the oven. I believe I have a video on that also. So altogether I have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 family meals out of the pork. Now I'm gonna take inventory of my herbs and all my other stuff and bring you back for that. I have one 20-ounce bottle of my husband's work water, one 2-liter bottle of my husband's work tea, and my husband just calls it a juice bottle of his work tea. Alright, we'll be back. I have 1 pint of hot frozen banana pepper slices. I use these for my salsa when I make them. I have part of a quart of sweet basil, part of a pint of holy basil, almost 1 full 1.5 pint of chives. This is the drainings from canned chicken, and I'll use that for a soup. Same thing, canned chicken, I'll use that for a soup. When I drain my canned chicken, oh, this is turkey. This is chicken, this is turkey. When I drain them, I save the meat or save the juice, because I use the meat in the jar, obviously. And then I save the juice and use that for chicken, for stock, for when I make soup. And then in here is a partial herb jar of my husband's peppermint, for peppermint tea. And then, last but not least, the tomatoes I'm freezing fresh off the vine. They just get set right in there. And that's this freezer inventory. Let's move on to the next one, guys. Here's my other freezer. It's one great big giant mess. This is a bag of ice on top of everything with the ice scoop and a rag so that your hands don't freeze. So that my kids can just get their own ice and make their own iced tea without mom having to help them, because I have all that canned tea. Anyways, big old mess in this freezer. I can't film and unpack. It is such an absolute disaster. I don't have any of this in bags, so the camera would be in my way if I'm trying to do it fast and move things and pull them out of my freezer fast, because I want to pull them out and stick them straight into bags. And I don't have a very big kitchen, so the bags and the camera and me and the freezer will not all fit in my kitchen. So I'm going to clean this all out, and then I will bring you back as I put it back in, and we'll go over the inventory. Alright guys, let's do this quick. All cleaned out. It was a bigger mess than I thought, and I had to get rid of some stuff. Alright, in here is my baking bag, and it's going to go on this side shelf because it's an immediate need and reach. In here I have creamer, because I use that to make my homemade hot cocoa. And then I have a jar. When you open these big things of yeast, they puff up and become 2 quarts. So I have 1 quart in the freezer that's half empty, 1 quart in here that's full, technically another 2 quarts here, and then I've got this one. This one was recommended to me by the Needy Homesteader. I haven't tried it yet. I'm going to, as soon as that half a jar in the freezer and this jar here are gone, I'll be opening that one up and trying that one. Then in here, in this bag, this goes, nope, the other one doesn't go at the bottom. In here, I have my frozen bags of sliced peppers. I think I have a video. These are actually the peppers you saw me slice in that video. And then I have 12 bags. I have 2 of these. And each bag has 8 of them in it. So I have 16 bags, 16 family meals, 16 projects of sliced peppers. I have 12 of these portions of rhubarb. Now, 1 of them can be used to mix with berries, or 2 of them can be used to mix together to make a whole recipe. Because each of these is 3 cups. No, each of these is 2 cups. But I always do 4 cups when making rhubarb, because I always add liquid or juice of some kind to it also. So, 12 rhubarb. I have an open bag of blueberries, and there's 1 round of jam in those blueberries. And then 16 pepper projects, and all of those can go on the bottom because I don't use that stuff very often. Next is this. Okay, in here I have frozen whole yogurt Ann's, and then Kirkland's organic Greek yogurt, because I lacto ferment my own berries. I just, with the big Kirkland ones, a half a container works. And I just hang it up in cheesecloth and let it defrost and drip right out of the cheesecloth, defrosting. And then I lacto ferment my berries. If you want to know about lacto fermenting your berries, do not ask me to do a video. I will say go to Doug and Stacy and look up lacto fermented blueberries on Doug and Stacy, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. They are the best ones to teach you how to do lacto fermenting. In here is my pill. I can't even pronounce that. It's brown sugar. My friend brings it to me when he goes down to visit his family. I use that when I make hibiscus tea or hibiscus jelly. And here is the last of that cheese that I froze. See, it's still beautiful and separated and not one big clump and frozen and not all icky. And I use that to sprinkle on top of homemade pizzas or on top of spaghetti. And then I've got 2 tortellini, cheese stuffed tortellini. So that's 2 family meals, cheese, and a big bag of wraps. So I've got a good inventory and a good stock of my veggies and fruits and random freezer, because that's what this is. I use this for fruit, veggies, baking, and random freezer. So all organized, all inventoried. I got 1 last freezer to go, and that's my refrigerator freezer. Now I already know that in my refrigerator freezer there is some stuff that can be put in this freezer or my other big freezer. So we'll be back, you guys. Totally forgot to tell you about this. This is that bag of pastas and beans and nuts and fruits like raisins and craisins that you saw me package and freeze. And we packaged them for Project Pantry because I got in that huge haul from my mother-in-law. And I packaged them individually and then vacuum sealed them, and then you freeze them for 2 months. I mean, I think it's something like 3 weeks actually, but I always go overboard with anything that I do. And it hasn't just been 2 months. These have been in my freezer for almost 3 months. So now I need room in my freezer. These have been frozen long enough for them to be safe and stable. So these are going to move to storage for Project Pantry. And I've already taken inventory of this for Project Pantry. Alright guys, I pushed the wrong button. But here we go. I'm going to start all over again. I had to reorganize. Down at the bottom is another bag of that cat and dog food. So I have 2 bags, 2 of those big blue bags of the cat and dog food portioned off. And then next to it, right down there, is that rhubarb and blueberries and peppers. And then in here is all those baked goods. And then in here's the miscellaneous stuff and a thing of English muffins. And then I put my kids' ice in my freezer basket that I had. And put a kitchen towel in the freezer basket so that the kids have an easier time getting to the ice. Alright guys, I'm going to get to that refrigerator freezer and bring you back and show you the final of what the fridge freezer looks like. And then the other stuff that I move around. Alright, we'll be back you guys. Alright, here's my fridge cleaned out. I'm not going to stand here with it open because as you can hear, it's running because I had to defrost the freezer and it needs to get back up to freezer, and I don't want to waste electricity and energy standing here talking about it. So we'll be back to go over the list and over everything else in a minute. Alright guys, the inventory on all of the freezers is done. I'm all ready to go. I've gone over and looked at everything I have, and I'll go over it with you. I think we talked about most all of it as I was putting stuff in the freezer. 4 family chicken meals, 8 family beef meals, 1 big ham, and I decided I'm going to use it for a holiday meal. I've got 2 family ganoche meals and 1 kid's lunch meal. I got 1 full bag of my fresh frozen, and when I say bag, it's one of those reusable grocery bags. Don't even come in that window right now, Scribbles. My cat's getting ready to come in through the window and up and across here. And I don't want hair in my food, so I close the window. Okay. 1 big full bag of those reusable grocery bags filled with my tomatoes. And then I've got 2 big bags of nuts and fruit for baking. And then I got 5 of those bags of pureed pumpkin for bread batches. I've got 2 bags of sliced cucumbers to make veggie stock out of. I had 2 bacon, but then I found 3 more. I had changed it to 4, but then when I was cleaning out the little freezer, I found another one, so I actually have 5, not 4. I found 2 in the one freezer, 2 in the other freezer, and 1 up in the other freezer. So I have 5 bacon family meals. I have 4 pepperoni projects, I have 6 hot dog meals, and I have 5 ground meats. I have 4 hamburgers and 1 of my homemade Italian sausages. And that's in my big freezer. Now in my little freezer here, I have those 2 vacuum sealed containers of yeast, and then the 1 big jar of yeast. I have that large creamer that I use for making my hot cocoa. I have 1 box of baking milk, and I freeze that, and I use that baking milk specifically for like using my pureed pumpkin. because I only let the milk defrost a little bit, and then I pull off the watery, and I use that for baking with the pureed pumpkin. It gives it a really interesting flavor, and then it starts saving up all of that fattier part of the milk, and I use that fattier part of the good milk for baking like my eggnog bread, because I add a little bit of milk besides just eggnog. I discovered that when I'm going to be remaking the eggnog video because I changed my grandma's recipe just a little bit. I also use that thicker creamy milk from the freezing process for like strawberry bread or blueberry bread. I have 2 lacto-fermenting yogurts, 2 of the really good yogurts, the Greek yogurts for lacto-fermenting. I have 1 bag of sugar for hibiscus flowers, whether I make hibiscus tea or hibiscus jelly. Then I have that 1 bag of frozen shredded cheese. I have 2 of those cheese tortellinis in there for dinners. I have that bag of English muffins. I have a big bag of wraps. I have 1 box of butter, and it's that Kerrygold butter, so it's 3 pounds of butter. I have 12 of those individual bags of frozen rhubarb. That's similar to this strawberries back here. What I do is I cut it all up, add sugar on top of it, let it sit, get all juicy, and then I freeze. I strain all the juice off, and then I freeze the fruit. And I got 12 bags of that in my freezer. And then I've got a little bit of a bag of blueberries left, and that's enough for 1 batch of some kind of jam or jelly. And then I've got 2 things of peppers at 5 dinners of peppers each at 10 sliced peppers for dinner. And then up in my refrigerator freezer, I've got 4 jars of tomato stock, 4 jars of poultry stock, 8 bags of shredded zucchini for me to make bread with. I have 6 bags of the sliced peppers for dinner, the individual bags. I have 3 bags of the individual sliced cauliflower and 1 bag of diced up cauliflower, big chunks of cauliflower that you use to make dinner with. I have 1 bag of corn on the cob. I use that to make veggie stock. I throw the whole cob in. Well, I throw several cobs in when I'm making veggie stock, and then you just pull the cob out and throw the cob away. And it adds a lot of nutrients and roughage. I guess not nutrients, you can't say that. It adds good roughage, because corn really does not have much nutrients in it, and it's actually got a lot of starches in it, which is sugars, which break down into sugars. But it does give you roughage to help with cleaning out your digestive system. So I've got a bag of that for making veggie stock, and then I've got 4, and let me go grab those out so I can show you. I buy big things of summer sausage, like the big, huge, like 3.5 foot things of summer sausage at Christmas when they're on sale for really, well, I guess they're not cheap. I generally pay $12.99 for a big one, but it's cheaper than buying them when it's not Christmas season and they're rather expensive. I slice them down into about 3-inch piece and freeze them in like this for my son, because then we defrost it and he slices it really thin for sandwich meat, or slices it just a little bit thicker and takes sliced cheese and has snap. And I have 4 of these. That is my inventory for all 3 of my freezers. And then I did a list of things I want to get. I want to get leeks, onions, cauliflowers, more peppers, all for slicing to freeze for this coming up winter. This will be what I get when I go shopping here in 3 weeks and do my large family shopping again. I'm going to do veggies for dinner, side veggies. I'll show you what I mean. This is cauliflower. It's just, you know, cauliflower that you make with dinner. So you have veggies with dinner. I want to get cauliflower and broccoli and Normandy blend and mixed vegetables with carrots and, you know, carrots and zucchini and broccoli and all that. Those variety bags of veggies. I want to get 25 of those because that should last me 6 full weeks because I'm all out of these. And then I want to get 10 ground hamburger, and 10 assorted chicken, like chicken breasts, chicken tenders, chicken thighs, because that'll last me quite a long time, and then my big bulk shopping for a while can be put into other things. That's another one of the ways I save money is by thinking ahead and buying things way ahead in bulk. Like I have just a ton of meat, and if I were to only be able to eat on what I have here, I've easily got, other than veggies like this, I've easily got 2 months worth of food. And not this is what I want to get, but here, other than veggies, I got about 2 months worth of food should anything happen, and I want to get even farther ahead. And that's how you eventually start accumulating extra, is by buying a little bit extra when you have the chance, or buying large quantities when you have the extra and the chance, and then you end up eventually buying so much extra and getting so much on sale that you end up buying not just what you need for the month, but then you end up stocking away and having savings. Put that away. Alright guys, thanks for coming along on this video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next one. I'm going to let you go because I'm going to take these strawberries that I got for my daughter and she never finished. I was going to freeze just the strawberries and then the juice. And then when I was doing my freezer inventory, I found the rhubarb. So now I'm going to go make some fun stuff. So I'm going to let you go. You're going to let me go. And we're going to see you in the next one. And remember everyone, stay positive. Bye guys.